Hey everyone, it's March 31st, and that means that if today's your birthday, you share it with serial killer Jane Toppan, known as Jolly Jane, who likely murdered at least 31 victims beginning in the 1880s, and that is her right up there. Born as Honora Kelly in 1857, her mother died of consumption while she was an infant, and her father was a violent drunkard prone to outbursts when inebriated, which was most of the time. At the age of 6, she was turned over to an orphanage in Boston, America's worst city, and was indentured to the Toppan family in 1864, changing her name to Jane Toppan. Her foster parents weren't much better than her biological father, and she grew resentful of her foster sister, who didn't suffer the same abuse she did from their parents. She was in indentured servitude to the family, having to work for them to pay her way in life. Toppan became known as a liar who would spin elaborate tales about her origins and turned to food as a means to cope with her unhappiness as a teen. At the age of 18, she was released from her indentured agreement, but remained in the household for another decade working for her foster sister when their mother passed away. At the age of 30, she finally set out on her own, attending nursing training at Cambridge Hospital, and her pleasant demeanor led to patients giving her the nickname Jolly Jane. She enjoyed working with patients, but you wouldn't want to be one of her favorites because she hated to see them leave the hospital and decided to do something to keep them there. Toppan would falsify their charts and give them unprescribed medications to cause illness, requiring them to stay at the hospital. Annie Wilkes would be proud. It's believed that a dozen or more patients died from her actions at Cambridge Hospital, but she wasn't caught until many years later. She moved on to Massachusetts General in 1888, where her colleagues didn't like her and even suspected she was over-medicating patients to the point where more of them died, and she was let go without being licensed as a nurse. Toppan began a successful career as a private nurse after that, but killed many of her elderly patients, climbing into bed to hold them as they died. In 1895, she poisoned her landlord and 2 years later poisoned the man's wife. In 1899, her foster sister came to visit and she slowly poisoned her, later saying this was the first victim she killed that she hated. She attempted to get her newly widowed brother-in-law to marry her, but he had no interest. 1900 saw another murder by Toppan, killing an old friend in order to try and take over her job, but was fired over financial improprieties. The next year, she killed a woman from whom she had rented a cottage, then moved on to poison the woman's husband and children. That victim's father-in-law had a toxicologist examine the bodies, and Toppan was finally arrested. A psychiatric evaluation determined that she was legally insane after she confessed that she gained sexual satisfaction from killing and had murdered 11 victims. Later writings indicated that she was intentionally manipulating the process to avoid prison, and that she had confessed to her lawyer that she had killed at least 31 victims, though perhaps as many as 100, saying that her goal was to have killed more people than any man or woman who had ever lived. She wrote, "If I had been a married woman, I probably would not have killed all these people. I would have had my husband, my children, and my home to take up my mind." Incels are often dangerous. Sentenced to a mental hospital for life, Toppan died in 1938 at the ripe old age of 81. If this is your birthday, I hope you have a great day. Leave me a comment so I can wish you a happy birthday. If you know someone whose birthday it is today, send them this video so they can find out all about their birthday twin. And to Jane Toppan, I say, happy birthday, you bastard.